Welcome to the Louie Herron Podcast, where I'm going deep into business, sales, leadership, and life. And I mean life, from the boardroom to the bedroom, from business acquisitions to personal addictions, from being saved yet still feeling like a slave, from manning up to mousing out, dealing with divinity to reality. This podcast is dedicated to growth, learning, inspiration, and healing. Jump in, hang on, and hang out. You'll never know which topic I'll tackle next. But one thing's for certain, I'm here to share my experiences, strengths, failures, and hope, all to help us live life at the highest level we can. Hey guys, Louie Herron here, the Louie Herron Podcast. How you doing, man? I'm so friggin' excited to share with you guys today some powerful stuff. Today we're talking about your business. We're talking about leadership, and the key word of the day is momentum. Momentum. We're going to talk about what is momentum, how do you get it, how do you maintain it, and how do you learn from it. It's going to be a great episode, guys. I hope you stay in tune and take some notes for sure. Think about a football game. Think about you're sitting in the stands with 60,000 people. You're watching a game. Your team is down. And then all of a sudden, one of your guys on your team, boom, picks the ball off. And now he runs 45 yards. It's a pick six. All of a sudden, momentum starts to change. You could feel the energy, the intensity in the stadium. Now all of a sudden, there's hope. Now all of a sudden there is energy, the frequency, everybody's starting to believe. And these are key words that I'm pointing out because momentum is every leader's best friend. I mean, we as leaders, we crave momentum. And when we have it, it feels great. And when we don't have it, we are searching for it. But no momentum definitely causes frustrations. You know, as leaders, even as an individual salesperson, as leaders, you got to learn to love the momentum. It's an absolute must because momentum really equals progress, right? Momentum, like I said before, is a leader's best friend. And if you doubt that, momentum is not your best friend as a leader, then just wait until you lose it. Just wait or look back at your experience when you had it at one moment. I mean, momentum is emotional. And it permeates the whole entire organization. I mean, it's vital, it's critical. But the thing about momentum, it's seductive, it's deceptive of what real operational skills are. I'll give you an example. So in 1997 through roughly 2004, I was in the Honda business. Now, if anybody was in the car business in the early 90s, mid 90s through the beginning 2000s, Honda was it, right? Honda was the product. It was the one coming up, rocking and rolling. Well, I was an operator, a salesperson and an operator through that time period. Then I look back and I was with Toyota from 2005 to 2014. Once again, during that time frame, Toyota was starting to take the march. They were starting to dive in and steal market share. The reason why I point this up is because I was operating stores during that time. And momentum can actually really mask some of the operational skills you actually have, right? However, in those time frames between Honda and Toyota, the brand, the manufacturer had momentum. And again, when you have momentum within your company, momentum within your operation, it's really just get up, show up, and blow up. When you have momentum, in my opinion, you kind of step back and you let that energy thrive. The challenge is leading when there's no momentum, right? So again, let's talk about this. Let's dive in and talk about this whole momentum thing and why it has so much value. I will say, even when you have momentum, there are still problems, but they're good problems, right? They're growth problems. A lack of momentum causes us to doubt ourselves and doubt our decisions. I want you to think for a second, even as an individual salesperson, how well do you operate when you're on the charge and you got 20 units out? By the 19th of the month, you're feeling good. You've got momentum, right? Again, you take the adverse to that, right? Even as an operator, you've got 59 cars out, by the 15th, and your goal is 200. Right, you're again, the doubt creeps in. There's no momentum in the operation, and that's going to start affecting your decisions, right? Because now you start to really reflect. You get nervous, and there's key reasons why we do this and why we go through this. But I think, again, it's important, especially coming out of COVID, you can tell why people took the money and ran, so to speak. There's a lot of people post-COVID getting out of business, selling their business. And now we're back in a position, we're back to 2019, right? Basics, fundamentals, market share, chasing market share, learning to fight the challenges again. Where's the momentum, right? This is where it's important with training, coaching. This is the time where we have to really get engaged and increase our leadership skills. And this is why leadership skills are so important when it comes to starting something and creating a movement, right? So momentum is vision. Momentum can happen on a dime, right? It's a cruel mistress though, right? It can change on us quickly. Again, a different set of skills are required to fix something. Both are massively important though, right? Creating a movement's important and fixing something's important. And I always say that leaders can fall into three camps. You can either be a great starter, you can be a great stoker, or a great maintainer of the fire, but boy, it's hard to be all three. But let me tell you something, when you can become the starter, the initiator, the driver, you can stoke that flame, baby, you can get that thing going and you can maintain that fire, right? Make sure that oxygen's getting to it, it's still flowing. That's when you really have developed some leadership skills. And I think really and truly, when it comes to, you hear me talk about body being balanced in business. I don't care if it's a relationship. Man, are you a good starter? Are you a stoker? Are you a good maintainer of the relationship? Maybe in your personal body, exercise, health, wellness, fitness, mental health. Are you a great starter? Right? Or are you a great stoker? Or are you have the ability to maintain that consistency in that discipline? Right? So leaders, we have to create momentum, sustain momentum, and then we have to fix it when it stalls. So a warning to all young leaders, it's not always going to be the way you see it. It's always going to be evolving and changing. The key is we need to be the ones making that change. Momentum does have a certain sense of shelf life, and that's why it's so important. If you don't know why it's working, when it's working, you won't know how to fix it when it's not. Okay, let me say that again. If you don't know why it's working, when it's working, you won't know how to fix it when it's not. So again, in my opinion, as leaders, as a leader of yourself and you want self-momentum in your business, as an operational leader and you're leading people, as a mid-level manager, listen to me. It is so valuable and so important to process. When you have momentum, take a notepad out and document everything. The energy, the vibe, the people, the process, the traffic, the why, the vision. These are all things you've got to document because, again, if you don't know why it's working when it is, there's going to come a point, like I said before, that it's not always going to be the way we see it. We've got to be able to document and know exactly why we have it. So listen, there are three components of momentum. Three components. Those three components are new, improve, and improving. And I'm going to get into this with you again. If you're driving, I know you can't do anything but listen. But listen, go back and listen to this. Take some notes because it's very, very important. Because this momentum thing is so vital to leaders, right? Guys that are operating organizations, guys that are winning in organizations. Again, it's super important for the individual to know how to create that for themselves, right? So anything new, right? So we talked about new, improving, and improving. Let's talk about new first. Anything new creates momentum. A new approach, a new product, a new service, a new manager, right? It creates momentum. New always creates momentum. I didn't say always creates good momentum. We'll get into that in just a second. But anything new and improved can sustain the momentum. Okay, that's where we're striving for, is we create momentum and then we start to sustain that momentum. But long term, has to consistently be improving. Guys, this is the formula. New and improved, and improving. If you can write this down and understand this, it's going to be critical to your leadership skills and helping your organization move forward because it always starts with the leader. There are new ways to do things, but are not necessarily creating a new category. When we're talking about new, in other words, that we can do some things, and we talk about new is going to trigger momentum. Right? And like I said before, it could be bad momentum, right? But new gets attention. New gets interest, at least initially, right? So like if you think about this, and when I thought about this, I actually had someone brought to my attention that I was actually wrong. I said, imagine if Chick-fil-A announced they had a new Chick-fil-A burger. It's a brand new thing, right? And it was marketed, to the public as, chickens get their revenge, but the point is, everybody knows how solid Chick-fil-A is as an organization. If they put out a new burger, not chicken, burger, it would create momentum initially. People will be lined up to get this burger. Now, side note, what I learned is there's actually a menu called Blue. I haven't even gone on to see it myself personally, but I was told that Chick-fil-A does sell burgers and tacos, some crazy stuff. Anyhow, not the point. The point is there would be some improvement because something new came out, right? They would sell a ton of these, even if the burger sucked, even if it was terrible, they would still sell a ton of burgers initially, right? But the power of new creates that momentum, right? But new can be triggered in a company three different ways: new leadership, new direction, a new product, a new service, or a new process. So when we're thinking about new and triggering new and trying to get momentum, what we typically see in organizations is they change leadership, completely change a new direction, get new products or maybe a service, or implement a new process. Now, we all know if we're in business, how we're talking about momentum, how some of these are not so positive, right? Or at least we perceive them to be, right? Because again, that's vision, that's leadership, rolling it out in a way that's exciting for everybody to feel a part of it. But momentum is rarely created by tweaking something old. It's usually generating by creating something new. Remember that. Momentum. We're not talking about success. We're not talking about consistency. I'm talking about getting momentum in your organization. I'm talking about, baby, when the lights come on, everyone's excited because of production, because of attitude, because of vision. And momentum is rarely created by tweaking something old. You've got to usually generate something new. And unfortunately, when momentum lags in organizations tend to replace the leader or the leaders, right? And I think they feel like it's much easier to give the problem to someone else versus fix the problem. And to me, to a large degree, I mean, that's human nature. When it comes to blame the person, blame the systems. At the end of the day, I have my own philosophy. I've been involved in being the new person, but again, systemically, sometimes it's not just the leader. Sometimes it's the process, and I think I would blame the systems, not the person first. Me personally, you got people in your organization. You need to get some momentum. You need to get some growth. You need to get to another direction. Let's look at the systems. Obviously, the people had produced at some point, or you hired them at some point. Let's look at the systems. And if the systems seem to be broken, we can fix those and create momentum, something new, right? Then at that point, if we can't get to it, then we can obviously replace the people. But at the end of the day, replacing a leader is much easier than somebody really fixing systemic change in an organization. And that's just the way it is. So as a leader, always remember that your organization currently is perfectly designed to get the results that you are currently getting. As a leader, your organization, good or bad, it's perfectly designed to get exactly what you're currently getting, right? So we've got to, if new leadership comes in or there's existing leadership present, the corporate entity or the powers to be need to be willing to let go of something to allow change. I'll give you an example. So I was in a situation where I was operating a Nissan store in Jacksonville, and at the time it was right during COVID, before COVID really blew up, and everything, supply went down, and so expenses were all being cut back. Everything was being cut back. In my mind, my operational mindset is I wanted to create and spend more advertising, drive more traffic, because now we were starting to pick up the pace. Some of the supply was going down. I had some ideas and concepts that I wanted to do, but my hands were tied. My wings were clipped. And as a leader, I think it's important, if there's new leadership or existing leadership, if you're in that corporate seat, you're listening to me right now, or you're someone has the power, be willing to let go of some things to allow some change, right? So we can't, if we looked at the systems, we looked at the processes, we need momentum, and your leader has ideas and concepts, and the systems seem to be in check based on the KPIs, percentages, the way things look, man, if you got a leader, you got to let them fly, right? So that's new. So now let's talk about improved.
noticeably improved, marketed as improved, and experienced as improved. So you implement new, and now we're talking about improved. So it's got to be noticeably improved. If you're going to change structures, you're going to change a person, you're going to, number one, it's got to be noticeably improved, right? And then we got to market it as improved. Now, this could be as organizational people, or this could be actually products and service to the marketplace. We got something new, public. We're sharing it with you now, and now we're marketing this as improved. And then the most important thing is then the experience has to be improved. In other words, somebody comes into the facility, the experience we're giving them is now improved. We've changed leadership, and the people in the organization go, this is the improved. I'm experiencing the improved. So remember, it's new, it's improved, and improving. So let's talk about improving. This is the harder one, okay? And if you go to any grocery store, look on the boxes, especially with cleaning products, you'll see all over the place, new and improved, especially products you've seen for decades. Could be Windex, it could be, Tide, or whatever the case may be. But again, they're putting these on the label as effective as whether it's true or untrue. They're suggesting that they are constantly improving their product, right? It says to the customer that we are still working on it and we're still making it better year after year after year. Stay with us, right? Brand loyalty. That's no different within your organization. That's no different within whatever product or service you're selling, is sharing with everyone that we're continually on the quest of improving. And ultimately, to get improving, especially when it comes to an organization, it's orchestration, evaluation, administration creates the improving. In other words, a set of, got to orchestrate what we're going to do, right? We're going to evaluate how it's going. And then administratively, we've got to track and watch and see how things are moving. Let's close this momentum podcast down, guys, with momentum killers. This is something I want you to think about, and I want you to understand. The power of momentum is phenomenal. But here's some momentum killers. You have momentum killers where you fall in love with your particular business model. In other words, you're a leader. You're in the organization, and you just do things a certain way, and that's just the way they're going to be. And I get it. We've all had success. If you're in leadership, you've had success doing things a certain way. But a momentum killer is when you're falling in love with a certain model that's in a certain market that may not be getting the certain results. When you're in love with it, it's hard for you to make those tweaks, to create something new, to create something improved, or to maintain improving. Same thing with process. You're in love with a certain process. This is the way we do it. This is the way it's got to be done. If it's not working and you need momentum, you may not be in love with that process. You need to probably figure out a different way. Another momentum killer is micromanagement is a huge momentum killer. I mean, it kills all initiative, right? There's a fine line between accountability and micromanagement. You hire somebody to do the job, right? You put things in place, whether it's your leadership, whether it's your managers, whether it is your sales representatives, okay? You put them in place, you tell them what you expect, you put the process in place, you let them go. Let the numbers speak for themselves. People lie, numbers don't. People will produce or they won't produce. But if we micromanage, I'm telling you from experience, because I was one of the world's worst micromanagers that loved my process, okay, and it did not fare well with me in certain occasions. So that's from experiential. Another momentum killer. If you oversell to your staff or market and then you don't live up to the hype, this is critical. I can tell you, I have almost made this mistake. Fortunately for me, when I've gone into businesses as the new leadership change, I have always had the ability and the good fortune to tell the people what is about to happen. Here's what we're getting ready to do. And then I was able to facilitate the social proof that things would start moving. Once the wheels started turning, people started getting excited. Then all of a sudden, they started creating change. That's a golden opportunity for a leader to say, guys, look what you've done. Look what you are doing. Great leadership puts all the blame of success on their people and takes all the blame of failure upon themselves to figure out what needs to happen. Go back to what I said earlier about gaining momentum, setting a vision, documenting the process. Why is it working? So if it breaks down again, you know exactly what you need to do. Two more momentum killers. The second to last one is organizational complexity. If what we do inside our operation is so damn complex within the organization, or we have too many layers of people, guys, it just bottlenecks momentum. Remember, it's speed, efficiency, speed, and efficiency creates momentum. No different in a sporting event, no different in a sporting game, no different in a boxing match, a UFC match. It's speed. It's simple, it's quick, it's to the point. The very last thing is a culture of suspicion versus having a culture of transparency. If you want a momentum killer, just hide stuff from your people, guys. Just hide it. Don't let them see. But I'm telling you, if you want momentum, transparency. Every layer needs to have a transparent view of what's going on in the operation in terms, I'm not saying your sales guys can read your financial statements. Okay, that's not their business. What I'm suggesting is if we create a culture of suspicion versus one of transparency, it will kill your momentum. So as you're leading and creating momentum, these are some of the things that I hope brought some value for you to think about, guys. New, improved, and improving. Take some notes, document the success, get momentum. Don't always change out the people right away until you evaluate the processes and the systemic scenario that's going on. And then let's make solid moves for our business and our company. And all of this, again, is, in my opinion, is applied to your body, your being, your balance, and your business. All of this momentum, you need it in your spiritual connection to God. You need momentum in your physical body, your health, your wellness. You need momentum, right? To eat right, to respond right, to exercise consistently. Get that momentum. Get in the gym. Day 4, day 13, day 37, day 69. You're rolling. You got momentum. Consistency, guys, right? Same thing with the relationships, right? Those that are married with children. Again, you want momentum in that house. You want to walk in the front door and feel like, hey, babe, I'm home. And everyone's embracing. Everyone's excited because there's momentum in the relationship, right? And then lastly, we talked about business, which we covered it all. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the Louie Herron Podcast. This is an opportunity, again, if you've heard it for the first time, subscribe, like, share this with people. I appreciate all the reciprocity, the reviews. Anybody needs more leadership content, go to louieherron.com. Anybody needs course material, go to louieherron.com. Anybody needs any kind of business training or anything of that nature, go to louieherron.com. Reach out to me if I can help you. I'd love to. If not, keep grinding, keep rocking and rolling, keep doing what you're doing. Look, if no one's told you lately that you're a badass, you're a badass. You can create this momentum in your organization. You can create it in your body, your being, your balance, your business. It's vital. It's important. And you've got what it takes. Look, until the next Louie Herron podcast, I'll see you next time.